Welcome to the world of deep tech. In this video, we will talk about valuation of advanced technology startups. A good valuation method reduces uncertainty in representing the value of a startup. This ensures that both the startup and the investor are happy about the deal. This is a necessary first step, as valuation and closing the funding marks just the beginning of a long relationship between the startup and the investor. The value of a startup isn't just based on the attributes of the startup. It is also based on the attributes of the investor and the environment in which the investor and the startup reside. Let's look at the attributes of each of them in some detail. The value of a deep tech startup is measured by early stage investors based on the IP and alliances they make. The founding team and its ability to recruit the right kind of talent to navigate the startup through different stages of its growth will play an important role in the valuation. We discussed what investors look for in IP and teams in our previous videos. The attributes of the target market, such as high growth rate and high differentiation of the offerings, strongly correlate with higher valuation. The team's ability to put in place control systems to manage the key tasks and time, and organizational structure to manage its human resources play an important role in the valuation of the company in later stages. Finally, one cannot underestimate the importance of financial statements, especially in later rounds. These capture the current financial status and forecast for the future. As startups begin their fundraising from private investors, they need to think about how they are going to return these investments back to the investors. In other words, the founding team needs to define the exit strategy for investors and potentially to themselves too. This is typically in the form of an IPO or an acquisition. The startup team should plan the time frame and target valuation for these exits. In case of acquisitions, having well-defined acquirer targets early on and path to the potential acquisition can boost valuation. Some investors prefer to consider early exit options. Apart from an early acquisition of the startup, these options include acquisition of the IP, acqui-hiring, or inclusion of the company's product as a feature into incumbent's company product, or selling the product to the incumbent. Startups should evaluate if they want to explore these early exit options. If the founders do not want to exit the company, they need to define share buyback plans and timing to acquire investor shares and expected returns they want to give the investors. Moving on to investor-related factors, the first investor attribute that drives the valuation is the number and diversity of investors available. Greater this number and the variability, better the valuation of the startup. Valuation offered by most reputed investors is lower than those offered by others because these reputed investors have a larger pool of startups to choose from. The greater the value add of the investor beyond the cash investment, the lower the valuation of the startup. Another factor that drives the valuation is the method used by the investor to value the startup, as each method of valuation introduces different biases. Moving on to environmental factors, when it comes to fundraising, timing and location play an important part in valuation. Valuation depends on the quantum and timing of funding available to the investors and the return and risk expectation of these funders. It is also based on whether the startup is hot, as investors do not want to miss out on such lucrative deals. An investor environment where there are hot exits and numerous deals happening, tends to lift the valuation of all startups. The valuation also depends on the familiarity of the investment community with the startup's primary sector. It also depends on the regulatory environment related to the sector and the investments there. Government policies around the startup's primary sectors also play an important role in the attractiveness of the startups. For example, uncertainty around regulation and government policy to encourage solar industry or EV markets have had and continue to have a marked impact on the attractiveness of the startup in those sectors. While a startup might not have much control over these investor and environmental related factors, where possible, startups can choose the timing and location of their fundraising and plan their growth strategy accordingly. Going back to the steps in the evolution of an idea to market, private investment raised by an advanced technology startup looks something like this. Different investors come in at different stages of the company evolution. Corporate investors generally come in at any part of this evolution, with collaborating corporates coming in at early stages and competitors coming in at later stages. Leaving aside corporate investors who invest for strategic reasons, other investors define their success in terms of multiples and IRR. While the multiple is defined based on the amount invested and the exit value, IRR depends on the time from investment to exit. Expectations on both decrease as we move from left to right along the path from idea to market. The journey from idea to market is filled with a number of different risks as shown here. Advanced technology startups also tend to have high capital intensity and require substantial funding in early stages of the funding cycle. Other than the IP and team's capabilities, they do not have substantial tangible assets that can be liquidated. In addition, it is hard to seize and establish the value of IP and liquidate. Development cycles and production lead times are also generally long. This lowers the IRR for investors. Added to this, most investors tend to be from financial background and do not have enough technology expertise or information to evaluate the technical and economic viability of the startup. Hence, early stage and seed stage investors tend to focus on risk minimization and non-financial parameters like IP and strategic alliances, founder team strength and attractiveness of the markets, while later stage investors focus on traditional metrics such as financials, management structure, and controls. To understand the technology risk inherent in advanced technology startups, early seed stage investors look beyond the registered IP and evaluate the proof of value prototype and the feedback from customers who use the prototype. They also seek out expert opinion on the level of the technology innovation, the efficiency and R&D capability of the team, and the completeness and expandability of the technology. They will also seek out expert opinion on evaluating the competitiveness of the technology and the feasibility and scalability of the solution in the market. Beyond the technology risk, early and seed stage investors also have several other concerns that the startup teams need to address. First, there is the possibility of the startup running out of money before it reaches a stage where it can raise the next round of funding. Related to this is the concern about teams' inefficient management of time by being involved in various peripheral activities like participating in business plan competitions or attending trade shows and conferences. Beyond the limit, participating in these and similar activities leads to a lot of noise, taking precious time and mind space away from the central activity of commercializing the technology and developing a solution that can generate revenue for the company. Early investors are also concerned about the possibility of the founder's network being too small to enable the startup to build alliances, hire right people, and raise the next round of funds. Related to this is the founder's ability to recruit and retain the talent required to build the company. As we discussed earlier, advanced technology startups take a long and difficult road to commercialization, and hence there is a real possibility of the founders losing interest, leading to declining performance. Startup teams can do a lot to alleviate these concerns. For example, they can define minimum fundable milestones that can be achieved in a reasonable time and ensure they deliver on it. They should have a clearly prioritized list of tasks that go a long way to address investors' concerns. For example, if the investor is concerned about the team's ability to create a product, the team should focus their efforts on building their MVP instead of enhancing their technology. Similarly, if the investors are concerned about the team's ability to build alliances, they should be focused on signing on the right partners instead of spending their time in the lab to build the next generation prototype. They should cut down the noise and keep a close eye on the amount of time spent by the team on peripheral activities that are time suckers but do little to progress the goals of the company directly. When communicating with the investor, they should communicate the facts, even if these facts are unpalatable things like failed experiments, delay in shipments, and that hot recruit rejecting their offer. This kind of honest communication builds trust. Along the similar lines, communication within all levels of the organization and its external stakeholders cannot be overemphasized. We discussed these at some length in our previous video on teams. Building a business plan and its financials involves a lot of forecasting, and like any other forecasting, it is based on a number of assumptions. The team should try to explicitly identify these and categorize them into known knowns like the number of employees and customers they currently have, to known unknowns like customers' reaction to the product they plan to launch, to unknown knowns like hidden capabilities of the team they never knew they had, and unknown unknowns like the pandemic or similar disruptive events. This helps the team quickly identify the known unknowns and define strategies to validate them. A startup's ability to raise additional funds depends on its ability to execute on building the product, defining the product market fit, and business model fit. It also depends on the nature of the startup's business model, like how scalable and profitable it is. In addition, it depends on the realistic, strong financial model and availability of non-dilutive funds such as government grants. The startup should also have a clear go-to-market strategy with sales and marketing channels and production and distribution networks identified. To summarize, in this video, we discussed the factors that impact the startup's valuation and the non-financial attributes of the startup that investors, especially early stage and seed stage investors, look for while making investment decisions. Before you go, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.